Welcome back, my lovely listeners, to another thrilling chapter of The Silent Witness at Daily Stress Busters. In our last episode, we explored Emily Harper's reluctance to step fully into the light of truth. With Detective Ryan Cole's steady persistence, she began to share her story, but not without consequences. A shadow looms over her, a threat made real by Ryan's warning that the killer might already know about her. Tonight, in Chapter 3, Shadows in the Frame, the tension builds as Emily's world grows darker, her art revealing hidden truths she cannot ignore at Daily Stress Busters. So settle in, and let's continue this gripping tale. Emily Harper sat by her studio window, her eyes fixed on the apartment across the street. She hadn't drawn the curtains since the night she witnessed the crime, feeling as if shutting out the world would make her more vulnerable, not less. She couldn't shake the sensation of being watched. Each shadow that moved in the city below, each flicker of light in the opposing windows, felt like an accusation, a silent witness to her own fear. Her studio, once her sanctuary, now felt claustrophobic. The dim light of the city seeped through the room, casting long shadows that seemed to grow darker with every passing moment. Later that evening, Emily sat at her workbench, staring at the sketch she had made of the crime scene. Something about it gnawed at her. As her pencil traced the lines she had drawn that night, subtle details she hadn't noticed before began to emerge. A faint outline of a second figure, barely visible in the window. A reflection in the glass that didn't belong to the victim or the shadow she had first seen. Her breath quickened as she realized these details had been there all along, unnoticed in the chaos of that moment. Emily began to sketch again, her hands moving faster than her thoughts. Each line seemed to pull her closer to the truth, but also closer to the danger lurking in the shadows. Meanwhile, Detective Ryan Cole stood in his office, staring at a wall covered in photos, reports, and notes from the case. He couldn't shake the feeling that Emily was in more danger than she realized. Her sketches were beginning to offer clues no one else had noticed, and her proximity to the crime scene made her a potential target. Ryan's protective instincts had deepened since meeting Emily. She wasn't just a witness. She had become a crucial part of the puzzle he was trying to solve. But with every piece of information he uncovered, the sense of urgency grew. The killer wasn't just dangerous, he was methodical, watching and waiting for the right moment to strike again. As night fell, Emily worked tirelessly, her studio alive with scattered sketches and canvases, each one holding fragments of a scene she couldn't fully piece together. Her paranoia grew with every glance out the window, each shadow making her pulse race. And then she noticed it. A subtle flicker of light in the apartment across the street, like the reflection of a lens catching the glow of a street lamp. Someone was watching her. Her heart pounded as she backed away from the window, pulling the curtains closed for the first time in days. But the feeling of being seen didn't leave her. It lingered in the room in her mind, as she realized the shadow she feared might be closer than she thought. The shadows in Emily's world grew darker that night, pressing against the fragile walls of her sanctuary. Her art, once a haven, now felt like a gateway to something far more dangerous. And yet, within those shadows lay the fragments of truth, waiting for her to piece them together before they consumed her entirely. Here is our tonight's poetic verse. A lens reflects, a shadow spies, the truth concealed in quiet lies. Through trembling hands, the story flows, a danger near, yet no one knows. The clues Emily's sketches reveal only deepen the mystery, but with them comes the threat of exposure. Who is watching her, and how far will they go to keep her silent? Join us next time for Chapter 4, A Canvas of Lies, where danger escalates, and the line between ally and enemy begins to blur at Daily Stress Busters. And now, a question for you, dear listeners. If you discovered a clue that could put you in danger, would you reveal it or hide it? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Until next time, stay safe and keep watching for the truths hidden in the shadows.